basically an incel anyway, so it's fine. But
I get it. Can women be incels?
No, we actually have a post on
this
his
podcast. They can.
Oh, nice. How
Equal
progressive.
opportunity incel
How
podcast.
progressive.
Yeah. Welcome to the bonding. This is our podcast. Troy Bond and Torico. We talk lots of
eating
facts.
jelly beans.
Eating jelly beans that Torey got me. You want to tell a story about those jelly beans? Come down a little bit so I don't have to sit up again. Am I recording? Am I recording? Yes.
Yeah. So the story behind the jelly beans is that
Oh fuck. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Troy was having a bad day.
Taking one down, Nicole
one
came
down,
and turned it around. She gave me jelly beans and this pack of cards. I woke up and I was confused as fuck.
Yeah. So I walk into his room. He's dead asleep.
This is my room. This is where I sleep a lot of the
he's
time.
He's dead asleep, and I'm like, oh, I'm glad he's sleeping. So I put the deck of cards. I bought him Star Wars cards, and I put the deck of cards on his phone. I was like, he won't miss this. And then I put the jelly beans on the floor, and I walk out. I figured he'd wake up, text me, being like, oh, did you bring me these? Blah, blah. I don't hear from you for like 5 hours, and then I never really hear about the jelly beans or the cards, and I'm just like, whatever. And then I don't. Then you tell the rest of the story.
Did you just call me ungrateful?
No. But then the best part of the story is what you thought you did.
I thought that I because I have I have bad depression and I will sleep. I'll go into hibernation mode and I will sleep for like a solid 8 to 12 hours after not sleeping for days. And I thought that because I sleepwalk too. Like I thought I sleptwalked and got jelly beans and the cards, but like I woke up on the futon and I had jelly beans in one hand and cards in the other, and I was trying to figure out where the fuck I went. And then I was like, should I go turn myself in? Did I do something? Like what is
I feel bad I put you through that.
No, and then I realized that maybe a half hour before I fell asleep, I told you to come over to grab some footage from the shows we did, and then the depression just took over and knocked me out. And then, but I mean, it took me a good 10 minutes to put two and two together, because I really for 4 minutes was waking up and trying to get my personality back. Then for 3 minutes was just holding them like the scales of justice in my hand. And then at the end of the 10-minute post-nap spiral, I was like, Torey definitely got me these. So
sure
thank
did.
you.
You're welcome. They're really good.
You're going to keep eating them in the mic? People are just tuning into this now.
You're so good.
I know. Thank you. I have been eating them late at night when I watch American Dad. Pop these jelly beans on the futon and I crash.
Oh, yeah, the funny story. Anyways.
I asked the people if they had any questions for us. We have a very great guest on the show today. One of my favorite people on the planet, Emma Willmann. You've seen her on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. She's one of the most genuine. I hate giving intros because there's no good way to say it without sounding shitty. She's truly just one of the most genuine people I've ever met, amazing. And she gave me a lot of my firsts. She took my virginity. She gave him. There was a lot, and we had a great conversation. Last episode we did voicemails. This week I asked you guys on Instagram to send me in some questions, so I figured we answer some questions that
I love that
the people have asked us on Instagram before we get into today's interview. Give you a chance to eat some jelly beans. If you can only listen, this is from Hannah. If you can only listen to one album for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Jack Johnson, Adrift.
Adrift. I don't know too many Jack Johnson songs. I'm more
chill.
of a John Jackson
Something I wouldn't
fan.
get tired of.
Adrift. What kind of music is that? Is that rock?
Alternative.
Alternative. It's a good one, I guess. I like how I said it's a good one. Like I knew.
You probably wouldn't like it.
I like alt music.
My favorite
alt rock
is Coloring Book by Chance the Rapper, though.
That's a lot of people's favorites.
You know.
That was.
They won an award.
Was that what year did that come out? Was that 2013? I feel like I was in high school when that came out.
I think 2015.
I wasn't in high school. Mentally, I was though. Mine probably would be. Off the wall. I gotta go with off the wall. Would you consider dating a fan? Dating? No. Have you had any crazy / super awkward fan encounters?
No.
Yeah. But it's part of the job. I mean, I could go down the list and start naming different stories, but it's part of why I get to do this for a living. And it's fun. You look back at it and it's fun, but
Yeah.
in the moment it's not. It's scary, but it's
Partying in Miami with the crew was fun.
yeah, but
That
that
was like a
wasn't
good-
super
No,
awkward
I know.
or crazy.
No, I'm just saying it was
I mean,
like
that was
good,
crazy.
clean fun, you know?
Yeah. Good clean fun.
It was.
Good old it was. I mean,
Not just like a loser.
oh, there's the car. I love having the headphones on so you could really get that authentic New York experience. Let's see. What are your thoughts on the Twilight Saga? I've never seen the movies, but I'll tell you something funny.
Movie you haven't seen?
I lied to my mom once and
Wow.
told her that I read the first Twilight book and I really liked it. And then that year for Christmas, I got all the rest of the Twilight books.
You didn't read them?
I didn't read a single one. That's when I got into being a pyro. I lit them all on fire, one page at a time.
That's a hate crime.
Against who? Pale vampires?
I think
They're
can't
doing
burn
pretty
books.
good. But I love Robert Pattinson as Batman. That's my favorite Batman movie. And I like that he got the part in Twilight because he took Valium right before his
Really?
audition, and that spaced him out so much that they were like, wow, you just did such a great job at being a disconnected pale vampire type.
Wouldn't he feel the need to be on Valium the whole movie?
Not after you get that confidence that says, here's a
Oh.
3-picture deal.
Okay.
I think it was 4. Wasn't the last one separated into 2 movies?
I don't know. I tapped out.
I
I
never
was
saw
a
him.
fan, but then I was like, whatever.
I never saw him. I'll get into him. Probably never. But I'm a fan. Listen, I'm a fan of fans who are fans of franchises.
I was Team Jacob.
That was Taylor Lautner, right?
I thought he was so hot.
I like Shark Boy and Lava Girl. That's my shit.
Mhm.
And Cheaper by the Dozen 2
Love.
that he was in. Great movie. Both of those movies, great. Great movies. Any opinions on Ahsoka?
Ahsoka.
Yeah. Okay. At first, I watched Ahsoka, and
Should I know what that is?
You don't know her yet. You're not there at Star Wars.
Oh.
It's a new Star Wars show that's out right now.
Okay.
At first, I thought, okay,
I know Star Wars.
it's weird. Like, I mean, you do. I give you a lot of credit, Torey,
Thank you.
in the process. At first, I thought Ahsoka's a hard one, right? Because it's truly season 5 of Rebels, and Rebels was CGI. Ahsoka was a CGI character brought to life through Rosario Dawson. So at first, I thought this portrayal is kind of wooden, and it's not connecting with me the same way it did when I was growing up, because I grew up with Ahsoka. Everybody hated her when the Clone Wars movie came out in 2007, and the fan base almost sort of grew up with the character. But then I realized, timeline-wise, Ahsoka was a child soldier. She then left the Jedi Order. Then 66 happened. Then she had to spend the years of the Galactic Civil War trying to stop the Empire from getting Force-sensitive children. Then she fought her former master, who that turned into Darth Vader. So by the time we're seeing her in Ahsoka, she's tired. And Dave Filoni is doing the map of Sion, which is about to unlock another galaxy in the Star Wars universe that's not tied to any of the sequels or any of the other canon. And I think that will truly bring a fan base back into... Because the thing about Star Wars is it would have died had Disney not bought it. And Dave Filoni needs the keys because he's giving us a way to bring a fan base back into it, and also include the one that was a part of it already. So at my first watch of Ahsoka, I was bored. I watched the first 2 episodes a second time. Now I understand it, and I see where they're going with it. Ahsoka Tano is like Qui-Gon Jinn. Those are the 2 best examples of what I think a Jedi should be. And the prequels show you why the Jedi, with the flaw in the downturn of the Jedi, whereas Qui-Gon and Ahsoka were students of the living force. That's why they call that song Duel of the Fates, because Anakin's training was dependent on whether Qui-Gon lived or Obi-Wan lived. If Qui-Gon lived, then that would have been the Jedi. That would have been led Anakin into the fate of being the chosen one, because he was the Jedi Master that could have trained him. Obi-Wan wasn't ready to train him. He was headstrong, and Qui-Gon told that to the council, and then all of a sudden he has to reluctantly take on this younger brother. So I look at Ahsoka through the Qui-Gon lens. That was a long-winded answer, and I'm sorry Torey had to sit through that.
am
I'll
too.
answer the Let's get to today's episode. Emma Willmann just left. And we had a very great conversation.
Lovely.
Is there anything you want to answer any questions? Sorry, that was a long-winded response. Is there any questions you want to
let's
answer
see.
on here? I gotta remember that whole thing I was just talking to Emma about, showing them personality, and that's why people connect with us. That's why I answer the Star Wars
liked
questions.
it.
I give you a lot of credit for not rolling your eyes.
Is Torey a real blonde? I get highlights.
Not where you think.
Let's see.
You get asked that a lot.
What
She
did you
certainly
learn?
acts like a real blonde. There's a lot of times when Torey does stuff, and I get like a little aggravated just because I'm like, why did you do that? In the sense of like, of course we could leave the rental car there the next day, but then I'm like, oh, she's blonde. It's okay. That stereotype is a real thing sometimes. And you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Were you insulted by me saying that?
No.
Oh, you looked
I was
at me
trying to
like
find
you were.
a good
Are
question.
there any good ones?
What did you learn a little too late? I don't think there's any such thing as learning too late. It's
It's like people saying you're ahead of your time. You're just ahead of the people around you.
what did I learn too? Yeah, we're always learning.
Yeah.
You make a mistake, then you learn. Fuck it.
Why do we fall, Master Bruce? So we can get back up again.
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me.
What is love?
What
It's
is love?
subjective.
It's a feeling.
Oh,
I have a feeling, all right.
I do.
It's called nausea.
How
Yeah, I'm
deep is
done.
your love? Wow, you checked out of those questions
It
real
was
quick.
more like eat my ass than anything else.
Really?
You guys are fucked up.
I know. I mean, that's why I don't answer a lot of these
Yeah,
questions
it's
sometimes
like-
on AMA.
Suck my balls.
Yeah.
Okay.
If this has happened to me, I can't imagine what's happening to Matt Rife. What is MBTI? What does that stand for?
Sorry, I just burped.
All right. Yeah, that's a signal to roll the interview. Put that IUD in, nothing goes out.
Yeah,
You
bonding
stand-
where women can be incels too.
What would be the well? I mean, you got like Harley Quinn. She's with the Joker. I don't think they've ever had sex. They don't strike me as a
Really?
sexual couple. No.
You think the Joker's asexual?
Yeah. I think.
You think
Well, that
Harley
was the big
Quinn?
question. There was a comic there where he shot Batgirl in the stomach, and then he took pictures of her naked and then made her dad, who was Commissioner Gordon, go through a roller coaster to look at all the pictures. And the big question, this was in 80s comics when everybody was on cocaine, and it was just like, yeah, let's do this. It's a good idea. Ninja Turtles, they're teenage and they're mutants. Put that
Right.
out there. They're going
Right.
to love it. So the big question was, did the Joker rape Barbara Gordon too? And I always thought no, till I talked to my mom about it, who's not a
Oh.
comic book fan. And she was like, I said no because the Joker's not a sexual person. And she was like, well, sometimes sex isn't about sex. It's about power.
That's true, especially
Interesting.
like assault is definitely about
Yeah.
that. But
They've never been like, this feels, are you okay?
right, but
Weird way to start the podcast.
So what
Sorry.
a way to take this off.
That was a great sound check, though.
Yeah,
Everyone
okay.
sounds
That
beautiful.
was okay, good. You're
Should
looking
we-
at the headphones on.
I
You
do. I'm
never
just
have those
monitoring
on.
because I can't find where I put the third mic. I got rid of my bed
That's why.
And-
and everything.
He
I'm
got rid of his bed. He sleeps like a.
you got rid of your bed.
gone.
Yes.
There's
Isn't
no
this
bed
like
in
the
here.
most important
Oh my
thing?
God.
I'm balls to the wall
He
right now.
rolls
That's
up-
crazy.
It is
I got a
crazy.
Japanese floor mattress.
Until
Really?
It's yeah,
And
it's
it-
great for two reasons. One, it feels great on my back.
Because
I'm just surprised.
At what? Getting rid of the bed?
Yeah,
It
This is the reaction I wanted to have, but I was like, oh, okay.
especially
No,
when you don't
it-
necessarily need to. I mean, because you could find there
know,
could be
right.
a way.
there is a way, but I found a way without. And it works
Okay.
for two reasons. One,
He
great on
doesn't
my
sleep.
back. I have a whole three reasons. I don't really sleep. And when if I have a woman come over, she's not going to want to stay very long because she doesn't want to sleep on the floor.
Right, and
especially if I tell her that there's mouse traps all around.
And if you can get her to sleep with you with that,
Yeah.
then
I'm like, I don't care. Go ahead. Bye-bye. I'm Troy. See you later. The worst part is having to roll the mattress out because, as you see, it's all tucked away because I wanted more room to do studio stuff and
Right.
have podcast.
And look at us. Look at us.
And we're in here.
yeah, you got to keep it sexual while
Keep
you're
se-
rolling it
yeah,
out.
and it's hard. So like, because there's no good place to look. It's either you watch me roll out the mattress or you look at
It's like
the
putting a
comic
condom
books.
on. Like, excuse me one moment.
Yeah, there's no. That's why these are recent and it's just pictures with celebrities.
Perfect.
It's like a tourist, like I'm at the Empire State Building.
Gaslighting
Right.
Like,
them.
yeah, look at this while we get the elevators
Right.
ready. It's horrible.
You could get a sex toy and tell him to play with himself while you're rolling it out.
I do. That's
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
there's lightsabers all over the place for that reason.
That's
Oh,
a sex
wow.
toy.
That's a
That's
sex toy. Yeah, it
so-
smells horrible. Pink eye.
Speaking of assault,
I had a bunk bed when I first moved to New York, and I remember I
A
was
bunk
like,
bed?
Yeah, bunk bed.
In
you
like a
first moved to New
hostel?
York?
I was renting a room in
In Rikers?
Williamsburg, and it was like they gave me for free. In Williamsburg, they just like it was like built in the middle of a living room, and they had a bunk bed, and there was no AC. And I remember being like, if someone will climb to the top of this, but I felt too much
Yeah.
sexual pressure then because I was like, I gotta bring the heat.
Yeah.
If I got them to climb, some like girl
Yeah.
to climb up there.
No, it's
Yeah.
like having a birthday cake protein bar after a workout. It's like, I deserve this.
Exactly.
First of all, Emma Willmann on the
Yes.
podcast.
Yay, so happy to be here. What a treat.
we've been wanting to
What
have
is
you
this?
forever. I mean, it's been in the works for a long time, so
Mhm.
it's nice to have you here.
Torey didn't wear socks today. That's how excited
did
she
that.
I don't
was
wear
Yeah,
for
socks
me.
all the
you.
time.
I just threw on the Crocs. I was running late. I'm so sorry. That was rude. I had work, stupid day job shit.
I think you got here like the same time we
Yeah,
did.
4:02.
like
right?
5
Okay,
minutes.
good.
I
Troy
was me.
gaslit
I
me.
did.
He goes, Emma's been here for 20 minutes. Where are you? And I started like running.
Not true.
She got
That's
here
why I was
right
really out of
before-
breath when I got here. I was like,
You hosted the first show I ever did at Gotham in 2020. God, I don't even know. 2015.
Oh my god.
And I bring it up for two
It's a long
reasons.
time ago.
One, I drank probably about 9 screwdrivers because I was so nervous going up.
You
and
and
I,
me both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's why we got along because you were so nice. You
Absolutely.
were like the first comic. You look at comics when you're starting out who are hosting or are established. Like toddlers look at people in high school. like they're
Totally.
gods.
yeah.
And you were so nice to me from the beginning, but it's probably because we were both hammered.
I have two thoughts on that because I remember taking like comedy classes in Boston when I first started.
Yeah.
And anybody that even like taught or worked at the comedy school, I was like, they're like a celebrity.
Right,
And I
yeah.
remember running into my comedy class teacher on the subway, and I was like, he takes the subway and teaches a comedy class. Like, he's been on local cable access. I was thinking about with comics being nice, it's also like the bar is so low.
It is.
It's so low. Like,
Yeah.
I ran into this comic on the other night who I hadn't seen in forever, and she's her name's Jamie Lee, and we hadn't seen each other in a long time. We caught up, and then I went home, and I was like so excited. I was telling my girlfriend, I was like, "Oh my god, she's so nice! And we taught, it was so good." And it's like that's how like one, Jamie is so nice and awesome, but I was like, it's so rare when you find like a socially lubricated, nice comedian
Yeah.
that I literally was like, just like, oh my
Blown away.
god.
Yeah, and you also think
blown
like
away.
because like most it's comics, so like there's probably some shit going on in their lives and you're catching them on the train transitioning from personal life to monkey clown that you have to
True,
get
that's
ready
a good
go
way to
to,
look
so
at
you
it,
never
yeah.
know what kind of mood you're going to get into.
Right.
And you remember the ones who ruined your dreams. Like there's certain TV shows I can't watch anymore because I'm like, God, I can't not think about when he was addicted to me, which he was deservedly should have been, or she,
Interesting.
I don't
he
know
or
if
she.
you should ever
there
be
have been
mean.
several.
It's
just-
there's no excuse being mean. I think
it
there's one
depends
to be
on
like
how famous you
dismissive in your
are.
own way, but
Yeah,
like
but like so many people coming up to you all the time, being like, "You mean this to me? You mean that?" Like my
Yeah.
brother came to the city with me this weekend, and he stayed at the shows with me. I did like 5 spots at a club. And
Where
I'm
were you
nothing.
at?
I was at Yuck Yuck's Chuckle Fuckle down on 79th and Exchange. No, I was at Broadway, the Trenches.
Oh, nice.
The
Yes,
OG.
yes.
Actually, what's so weird is I went on YouTube and your old interview with Gina Savage came up. I was like, let me just do. I know you already,
archives.
but I was like, let me just do a deep dive. And
Oh,
you were at
boy.
Broadway down there.
Yeah.
Which
did
was
you
like,
start there? Or you were at Boston?
I started in Boston, but I used to go to Broadway. I used to do the after prom shows at Broadway.
Oh, he was just telling me about
Chris
those.
Stefano and Pete Davidson. Pete Davidson would be on them sometimes too.
That is so
Isn't
funny.
that crazy?
Do you still connect with him ever? Or just
Not
in passing?
if I see him, he's always really nice. And then
Mhm.
I don't know if you guys have like the last time I saw him, where I really distinctly remember it. I felt like nervous because he just was so famous at that point that I was, even though I've known him now for like a long time, casually,
right.
very casually, I pretended I didn't pretend I didn't see him.
yeah.
And
That's funny.
my girlfriend was like, "Hey, I think he's trying to get your attention." I was like, "Oh, oh, hey. And then he was really nice. He was like, oh, look, we have the same hair color. And I was like, oh, yeah. And then I was just kind of,
Like
I was
overcorrected.
weird. I overcorrected.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I used to do those after prom shows.
Those
Never
prom
forget.
shows were crazy. There'd be
Never
like
forget.
like 9 kids whose
Those poor
parents
kids.
did that to them because they didn't want them to go out and
Right,
drink.
right.
So they would make them sit at a comedy show at 1:30 in the morning, and there'd be like what 6 comics.
Why
I
wouldn't-
think I took the mantle after you left. I'm like it's like a
Really?
Lannister thing. Yeah, it got passed down to me.
And you get $20.
$20.
$20.
You leave at 4 a.m. and you go, this is
Yep.
my dream.
Yep.
And
I
Hey, look at
can't.
us now.
Look
Those
at
are
us now.
so brutal.
Still working for $20.
Yep.
That's the baseline, you know? Like
Well, that's the point. Like I was watching a podcast recently where it's like you can be Bill Burr, but you're still gonna go do the same rooms. I mean,
Sure.
you're making more
Right.
money. You've got more of an audience, maybe, but like you're still doing a lot of the same clubs.
I remember the
Right.
splash you made when you did Colbert. Everyone was so amazed that like all the articles that were written, they were like, comic does 5 minutes on Colbert, doesn't mention politics at all. Like, yeah, I mean, she's a
Right.
comedian making her. Was that your debut then when you did that?
I did Access TV, and then I did
Access
that.
at Gotham.
Yes,
Yeah. I
yeah.
remember that. Yeah.
And when I did the Colbert, it was I mean, I wouldn't have even thought to do anything about politics because I'd be like, there's other people that can comment on.
Right.
Like that hadn't even like crossed my mind. But when I did that, it was live, and people were like, "Oh, that's crazy! It's live." But I always thought that those shows were live, so I was
Right.
just totally not in the loop of how those worked. I was more concerned because when I did the taping, I did something. I brought my mom and too many people. There's too many people in the green room, and my mom was buzzing around backstage, being like, "What's going on? When's Emma on?" And so my whole concern was being like, oh, "Where the fuck's my mom?" So when I did the taping, that was all secondary, and I got bumped. Because when I went to tape it, Bruce Springsteen was doing an interview and he went long, so they didn't have me. And then my mom was going around like, "I told my friend she was going to be on today. Like, what? This is awful." So I was, and she's like saying it to like some poor PA who's like, "I don't know, ma'am. Like, sorry." And I was like, "It's fine. Don't please. Like, it's okay."
When you are doing a set like that, like, are you even like? I always hate you do the road all the time. You know what it's like doing an hour. The 5 minutes is always the weirdest part.
5 minutes is tough.
It's tough. It's a
Yeah.
business
5 minutes
card,
tough.
especially on TV
You
and,
wanna,
and
like,
for
so
that audience.
tough.
And you're
Step but
going on
not
at the
rush.
end of a long taping of a show
It's
where they have a
tough.
comedian coming out in between audience
Right.
breaks, and they're like, you know how weird it is to clap? I hate clapping. The skin
I-
touching your hands.
So I'm an overclapper.
Right.
I
Show us,
I
yeah, I
clap
wanna
too
see.
quick. Like
Yeah.
if I see someone even starting to clap, then I'm like, I ride the wave and I'm like, so I'll do that. Or if I see someone I like or I eat something, I'll clap
Oh, yeah.
too.
Were you raised by walruses?
No.
That's great. I love that.
But like if there's like at the Cheesecake Factory when the food comes, I'm like, I do that.
They need to hear that.
Yeah.
We get
I'm
clapped when we
excited.
come on stage.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna clap whenever I have to get a prostate exam. Right before he puts the
That might
finger
throw
in.
him off.
I'm gonna. Well, I mean, there's only one hole. What, is he gonna do miss?
When does that start for you?
I think in about 7 years.
Oh,
I'm
okay. Oh, you're
27
good.
now.
You need
yeah.
health
Oh,
insurance.
good.
Do you
I've
have
had
health insurance?
Yes.
I'm always intrigued with comedy. It's hard to.
I do. I had it through the Actors Union.
Okay.
Right.
And then over COVID, they were like, we raised our premiums. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, you guys raised your premiums during COVID? Like, this is crazy.
That is a little crazy.
And then the representative was like, Emma, I'm just going to be totally honest with you. Even if we hadn't raised our premiums, you wouldn't have gotten it. And I
Why?
was like, really? And she was like, you wouldn't have gotten it by 90% this year. And I was like, oh, okay, all right.
Oh, 'cause it goes by
I hadn't-
jobs, right? Yeah.
It's based on how many things you got cast in. And she was like, even if we hadn't raised it at all for the past couple years, and I was like, all right, you're right. So I backed down real quick.
Yeah, that's one of those ones where you go from Bernie Sanders supporter to being like, yeah, you're right. I should be working differently.
Totally, 100%. I was like, how could you guys do this? You're taking advantage of the pandemic. And she was like, the percentage.
Like that has nothing to do with it at
Yeah,
all.
they're like,
Actually,
yeah.
should have. Well, you did. Was it Crazy Ex-Girlfriend?
Yeah,
Is
that's
that
how
the
I
name of
got
the show?
the health
Right.
insurance
Yeah.
in the
through
first
SAG.
place.
Yeah.
But this was like, they were like, for years. She was like, for years you haven't been cast in anything. I was like, all right, bitch. All right.
Was that your
No
first
need to-
TV job? First acting?
No,
TV
I
job?
did a bunch of these episodes of ID Discovery shows because I was.
I always auditioned for those. I never got
It's
them.
real.
We were probably going out for the same part.
Yeah, right.
That's what it was.
They casted based on if you look like the killer. So
Right.
anytime there was like a killer that had like short blonde hair, I would just get
You're
it.
in.
So probably
You
maybe
did all the school shooting episodes.
you were too good looking to be cat.
Do
Not
you have jokes about that?
no.
Oh, okay.
But I need material, so please, I'm desperate.
Cast as a killer is, or not
every time.
But you didn't get it.
No, I did.
No, you do. You do get, and that's
3
a non-union job, right?
I got non-union.
It is non-union,
It's
so it's like
non-union.
$150, but you're still on set for like 8 hours. They don't hear your voice. They barely see your face. They just like need B-roll for when they're talking about.
It
their body
was so.
bagged and
Those
gagged
doing
and
those
dragged.
was so fun though, because it was just
Which
like,
ones
it was
did you do?
exciting.
Do you remember? Do you
I
remember
did,
like specifically?
I so remember. Like it was my favorite.
Dahmer?
I did Deadly Affairs. I played a killer who then killed myself,
Oh.
and it was so non-union. Like there was a
Yeah.
scene where I hit someone and they were trying to get it outside and they needed to get it when the sun was up and it was going down, and so they were like, hit her. And I was like,
For real?
yeah, and I was like, I can't. And I kept stopping, and they were like, it's messing it up, like, just hit her. And then the actress was like, hit me. And I did, and I'll never forget that feeling.
Stop.
What was that? You've never hit
Bad.
anybody before?
I have, but in like a sexual context. So like I've hit
Okay,
people.
okay,
like,
that
you know
makes-
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Very like
Yeah.
it feels like you're winding
Right.
up in the moment. This felt so.
There's also different like gas that goes in the engine to hit someone in a sexual
Exactly.
context. Then like if you're not a physical person who goes off the handle, and you have to slap someone
Right.
on camera
And they have
in
to
front of all
act
these
that
people.
It hurt. And you don't know if they're acting, if it really hurt them.
Totally, which also like kind of fucked it up too. 'Cause
Right.
Right.
I remember
It's
just
like,
being like,
oh.
fine, hit, and then she's like, ah, and I was like, ah, but then they're like, okay, good, we got the scene, and I was upset because I was just like, this is, but you're supposed to. In union stuff, they would have like a coach, or they'd have someone stand
Yeah.
in. You'd be trained in whatever it would be, action. I don't even know
Right.
what.
They have you've done commercial stuff. No.
Wait,
You should
no.
do one for IUDs.
Oh my god, I'm so scared. Not to be dramatic, but I'm so scared.
What are you most afraid of?
Yeah.
I'm
The
so
aftermath.
So, Troy wasn't just saying that out of nowhere.
Let's demystify it.
I'm
Yeah.
getting an IUD, which I don't even know what it stands for. Intra-union device.
Device sounds
Yeah.
like D. What else would D stand for?
I've heard some good jokes about what that
Device.
stands for.
Device.
Interuterine
Device. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's IED, which is something
For
explosive
special ed.
device.
Oh. Isn't that for special ed?
IED
'Cause I was
is
in
like
spe-
the things that vets lose their legs to in Iraq and shit.
Do you know what
like
I'm talking
the
about with the special ed? Because I was in special ed and they're like, oh, we have to write you an IEP. That's why I was in special ed. See, things like this.
I know. I don't IED in special ed. I'm trying to think.
I thought it was like something where they're like, oh, to be in special ed, like to have like certain help, you get like a.
IED. They just. I was in special ed because my mom smoked when she was pregnant.
I wonder what my mom did.
When she was pregnant with
Something,
you. Do you have
some-
any other siblings?
I have a sister, and then I have a half brother, but it's not on my mom's side. But something.
Are you the screwball? You would say.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Compared
Just-
to them, what are they
yeah.
doing?
One.
You're a very successful comic, and you've been at it. You know what I was thinking about you, and I was telling Torey about this earlier. You, by the way, just shout out. You got me my first agent. You got me my first college
I
agent.
remember that.
You
Yeah,
just out of
Rich.
the blue were like, yeah, Rich Nick at
I
Arc
remember seeing you, and I
Entertainment.
thought you were so funny and like
Out of
charming.
the blue, you texted me, and you
Yeah.
were like, just hit up this guy, and then you
And
were the
you're
reason
like-
why I went on a plane for the first time.
Young and good energy. Really?
Yeah, I didn't fly till I was 23 or 24, and my first gig was in Alaska. And it was because of Emma hooking me up with Rich.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, nice guy.
And great guy.
He's a nice
One of
guy.
the best. But I was thinking of
that was
you.
your first plane ride?
First plane ride.
Wow.
A week before COVID started. Well, it was the first case hit the U.S. in Seattle when I had a transfer in Seattle.
That's
from-
wild. Isn't that wild to think that was your first plane ride and
That
to
was
think
my
how much
first
you guys
ever-
fly now?
Yeah, it's wild.
remember
to me.
being
He's,
excited to
very
fly?
well adjusted too. I'm like a proud mother. I'm like, look at him go with his suitcase.
Do you know how many
Like,
times
no.
Tori's like, I want to say bomb. I'm like, that's the place you don't say this, babe.
He's the one that's like telling me what not to do. But the other day we were at the airport and I'm like, we had parted ways because I have pre-check and he doesn't. So I'm
gotta
always
get
like catch
pre-check.
and
I
never,
know, yeah, I'm
buddy.
working on it.
Oh my
After the
God, you
process.
gotta get
I'm gonna
it.
get the
Oh, I know, he needs it
IUD
bad.
first,
He
then I'm
needs
gonna
it.
get
I-
pre-check.
He needs the clear. I think I hear that's even faster.
I have clear and
What's clear eye?
I have clear and
Clear, it's
pre-check.
called
Oh.
The
Which
airport
one's better?
is you got to get both.
Okay.
You gotta
Because
get
the
both?
airport is the only place in life I really feel like I have it together, and I'm so like I'm United 1K.
Right.
The second I walk in the airport, I'm like, excuse me, 1K, 1K, I gotta get to 1K, and I go through, and I was at TSA pre-check, and someone cut me, and I was like,
Oh.
oh, excuse me, like what?
1K?
What was that about?
Right,
and they were
yeah.
like, they've got pre-check and 1K. I said, excuse me,
You
or
immediate-
pre-check,
And clear.
TSA and clear. So I left, and now I did that.
Once you know you could level
Good
up,
to
you
know.
can't be on the. So
gotta
that,
get-
does that piss you off more when flights get canceled? You're like, don't you know who I am?
Yeah,
I'm
1K.
1K. I'm a Willmann.
I'll want my points back.
Yeah.
But this is I've never sent food back at a restaurant. I've never complained about
Me either.
It's only like I'm not someone that even like necessarily stands up for myself,
The
but at an
altitude.
airport,
Right.
something's
Yeah,
even
yeah,
a little
yeah.
off.
Yeah.
You better watch it. 1K. Whenever I fly with my girlfriend, she's like, they don't care that you're 1K. I was like, they do care.
They're
that I'm
going
1K.
to.
They're about
Yeah,
to.
they don't know.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
they
the
really
point of being
set
1K.
the tone though. Like when they're calling you to go on the plane, and they're like, "All right, cattle, line up, losers in the back."
I will
Warriors
pay
in the back.
every time I check in. I'll pay that $40 extra that they convinced me to for priority.
You gotta get
I gotta
TSA
get
pre-check
TSA
then.
pre-check and
Yeah.
everything
I said
else.
it to them
I'm
all the
so. When I flew out, you've been to Wise Guys out in Salt Lake.
Never done it, but I've been to
Oh,
Salt
you'd
Lake. I
love
went to
it.
it with my
Flying
mom.
through that airport is insane because I mean everything in that city is very strict and religious, which
Sure.
is crazy because we drove in there and they
It's
had a Trump
Mormon?
2024. It's Mormon.
Wow.
And they had a
I have
Crystalia.
a funny,
There was a Trump
video.
2024 billboard that said #Save Our Children, and then right behind it was a Crystalia poster,
You can't make this stuff.
No,
which
you
was
can't.
insane.
You can't make it
and
up.
There's
Yeah.
there's a sign on the sliding doors that says "Say goodbye to your little friend," and it's a photo of a gun.
Yeah,
Remember, you have a
yeah,
video of you
yeah.
taking
That's
a photo of that.
As in, like, they're gonna take your gun
drop
away.
your guns off.
Oh.
Yeah.
Don't bring your guns
and
here.
Not
they
like the
ma-
gun's gonna like kill somebody.
No,
they
no,
just
no.
want to bring it on.
They
They're
wa-
like, hey,
yeah.
leave your guns at home.
Like, and they have the they measure your drinks out there.
Oh, yeah.
And
Like at a restaurant.
no, everywhere.
Everywhere.
I
Like they're like you're getting vodka
No
soda.
double
They-
Jamesons
yeah,
for
double
Troy that
Jameson is
night.
like have an ice cube. Like they have like a cup by law. They measure it out there. That's still Red Dead Redemption out there.
Can you get as many drinks as you want?
Yeah, but it's not gonna do anything. It's like
Damn.
it's just like getting a bunch of hand jobs and edging. I'm just like then I feel like an alcoholic. It's like a Nutty Professor when he grabbed the woman out with his hand and she was a little fried.
Oh,
That's how it
yeah,
feels
yeah.
with the
I
drinks.
haven't
Like it's
seen
just
that
so.
in a long
I know it's
time.
not.
Can
right
you just
too.
go buy booze?
Yeah,
You
I should
did,
have
I
done
think.
that.
Yeah.
I probably did after that because I was so mad.
You get frustrated.
It's so yeah, and like I'm not getting. Then I feel like an alcoholic. I'm like, I'm just feel cheated. Like, I'm
Totally.
gonna tip you, but like I'm peeing a lot because I'm drinking all this ice,
Ice,
Too much
yeah.
ice.
that I'm letting dilute.
100%.
But you're sober now.
I'm sober. Yeah.
How many years?
I've been in and out a little
Okay,
bit.
'cause I'm
Yeah.
a little in and out myself.
Yeah,
yeah.
so about a year and a half but it wasn't alcohol that I went out on. It was
Pussy.
weed gummies. I did weed gummies.
Weed gummies?
Okay,
Yeah.
that
Did you get
counts.
too high?
I got so fucked up.
Tell
but
me your story. I want to compare experiences.
it's also I feel like with that type of stuff, it's like never what you do, it's why you do it. So I was doing it because
right.
I was like, I'm angry, I'm upset. Now, if you're not like for me, if I'm not like learning other life skills, then I'll go back to my old life
Right.
skills, which were like getting fucked up, altered somehow. So at this point, I remember I gotten audited. I was having
Yeah.
dental problems. One of my teeth, I have
I
veneers.
love those updates, though. I'm so sorry
Ooh.
to say.
you went through all this at
Ooh,
once.
all at
Like
once.
cycles, audit first,
Audited twice?
then teeth.
2 years in a row. Good memory.
And, you had
And then-
the tooth was in and out during this time?
Yes.
So it's the IRS.
I had and people they were not connected. The IRS wasn't like in there like you fucking.
They got a crowbar and they were like, "We'll be back next year,
Right.
bitch. If we don't get our back taxes, you're gonna be sharing the sub with Lauryn Hill."
Which I wish they would. I would have preferred that than all the ambiguity they
Right.
played out.
Which is what they do.
That's what they
That's
do.
the thing. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in
As a
business.
comic,
Exactly.
If
that
they
would
don't
be
tell
so
you
stressful.
how much you owe, they're like, "Hey, do it," and then if you owe, we'll come back.
That's how they
We
get
might burn
you.
your house down.
And I talked to one of them over there,
What
and they
the
were
fuck did you say?
They were very nice.
Yes.
But my mom said that's how they get you.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was so normal because
They-
they called me directly and they're like, "We've been trying to get a hold of your lawyer. We haven't been able to get." And I was like, "Oh, hi."
And you have a lawyer.
I have a lawyer doing it, and I was like, "You're really with the IRS?" And he was like, "Yeah." And he was like, I was keeping you up on this." And then it was going so well, I panicked, and I was like, "Have you seen Everything Everywhere All at Once?" And he was like, "I haven't." I was like, "Oh, they've got like a crazy portrayal of the IRS in there." And I was like, "But like, glad to know like that you're a person too." And he was like, "Yeah, we're people too." And I was like, "All right, well, like, be in touch." And he was like, "Absolutely." And then that was it. And I was shooketh. The IRS called me directly.
You should have just ran for president. That way, you would have never had to release
Did it
any
end
of your
badly?
tax
But
returns.
I've had friends that have been audited, and they're like, I owed like $1,000.
It's
It's
not
just-
over yet
Oh.
because they're understaffed. So they gave me
Right.
one price and then we contested it. But the thing that's so crazy is it's like it feels like the amount that they're gonna get from me is less than what they spent on like paying someone to do all
Right.
this
Mm-hmm.
work. But whatever.
They should not go to
whatever.
jail. Like I watched Orange is the New Black, and watching that show, I was like, I'm gonna get I'm gonna go in jail. Like that's just
What
what's
made you
gonna
think
Is
happen.
that why she went to jail?
No, I forget why.
Drug trafficking.
Oh, drug-
Yeah,
why Torey's
that's
gonna
what it
go to
was.
jail. That's why I bring her on the
just
road
the
with
way
me.
They made it seem like the system. It just looks like you make one wrong move and you end up in jail.
Yeah. Did you just learn that?
Welcome to New York.
Yeah, welcome to just everything.
Like,
when I
wait
went
a
to jail,
minute.
I was there and I was like, I went because they take
That's
you to the
fun.
holding cell first, and then I was in
Right.
the holding cell. Then the first like 3 hours, I'm thinking this is going to be a great
You were
bit.
in jail for over 3 hours?
I was in jail for a day and a half.
God damn.
Have
2
you been
days.
arrested?
I did get arrested. I got arrested for shoplifting. It was a fucking
What did you
mess.
where?
I was shoplifted a bunch of CDs, and I'll never forget this because
Tower Records.
it was someplace in Bar Harbor,
Oh,
Maine,
okay.
and I remember
Bar Harbor. I know Bar Harbor.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And I had taken all these CDs, and then when I left, I took a postcard, and then I was eating ice cream next door with my friend Tyler Weeks, and this kid comes in. He goes, "I think you took something from us," and I was like, "You're right. I'm sorry." And I gave him all my CDs, and he looks panicked, and he goes, "I thought you just took a postcard." And then he goes, "I'll be right back. I need to go tell my manager."
Oh, my
and I
God.
waited like an idiot.
Yeah.
I waited about 20 minutes.
You did
Tyler left.
all the right things.
No.
Stupid. So stupid.
Yeah,
Because I was
20
like,
minutes?
20 minutes.
For what? To give him the CDs back?
I wait to see what his
How old
manager
were you?
said.
Yeah.
High school, senior year. Yeah.
What
That's
a
even
great
kinda
person,
crazier
though.
that
I
you
like how
waited
you
20 minutes.
stole and then fessed up to it and then waited.
Yeah.
You would think
Why
karma
did you?
would come back around and
Why
help
did you wait? Why do you think
Because
you waited?
he was like, I need to talk to my manager. You probably won't be in trouble. And I thought in my head, I was like, I bet they've got like footage.
Right.
And then I pictured them
Yeah.
like playing it on the,
Yeah.
local cable access news. My dad's
I
a
get that.
math
My
professor
high
at the
school
local
brain would
college.
Yeah.
run all the bad scenarios.
So I was like,
Right.
let me just deal with this. And then they arrested me. And I was
Were
like,
handcuffs involved?
no.
Okay.
It was
Or
Or
Harvard,
what?
do they
Did
even
what
have
get
those?
involved?
handcuffs.
Handcuffs.
You didn't. Oh,
Nothing.
you didn't get cuffed.
They literally just walked me across the town center to this like little room, and then they lost it. I didn't get in trouble for it.
Oh.
They lost the.
They lost
oh,
whatever the
case again.
report was,
Oh,
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Notepad.
I to this day think it was because I had this awful stepmom at the time. I've got a great stepmom now, but my stepmom at the time, I remember when I was waiting, I was like, hey, I just want you guys to know, like, when my dad comes to pick me up, he's going to be with someone who's, like, not very nice. And they were like, whatever. And then I remember, like, sitting in there, and they were like, you could hear my stepmom at the time coming in. She was like, is she in here? Like, oh, she's the worst. Like, da-da-da, talking about me. And so I think they took pity on me
Because of your
and then
stepmom.
threw it out. Or maybe they really just lost it, but that's what I think.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Where'd she
that's-
go? She gone forever?
Done. My dad.
Yeah, well, that's
Good.
what happens when you stand at the top of a staircase, and Emma feel like pushing. There's what's it like having a stepmom? I've
My
never had
stepmom
any
now is
step-parents.
nice.
You've had 2 stepmoms?
I've had a few stepmoms.
Oh.
How many stepmoms?
On both
My
sides?
dad wouldn't usually. My stepmom now is like the first one he like married.
Okay.
And then before that, I guess only 3.
He don't want to be a player no more.
He didn't want to be playing no more.
You just want to crush a lot. That's
Yeah,
great. So
he's
who-
in love
At
now.
Aw,
what
I
stages?
love hearing
Like,
that.
when was your first stepmom?
My first stepmom, I think I was in like 3rd or 4th grade, I would say, and it was tough.
Were you
Because-
mad at her?
Oh wait, actually, yes, 3rd or 4th grade, but they didn't end up getting married. I was so mean to her. I would call her that woman, and like, it wasn't her fault that, you know what I mean? Like, who knows
Yeah.
what my dad said to her? And then my dad was single for a couple years, and then I had another stepmom, Cynthia, and she was real.
That was rough?
She was rough, but she got me out of that arrest.
Yeah.
For being a bitch.
Being-
yeah.
This was when I'm gonna remember it before I forget it. When I got my tooth had popped out, and I went in to
Yeah.
get this is the gummy story. I went
right,
in.
sorry.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
We
No,
gotta
I
circle
forgot.
back.
Thank you. You're the ADD captain
yeah.
today.
Do both you guys have ADD?
Probably. It goes all
yeah.
over. I think I drive it. See, I'm doing it right now. Gummy story.
I usually keep him in.
Gummy story!
So I was like, okay, just to be real, given to the ADD, you have kept your shoes so white, which is great.
That's the
So
one thing I
have
can
you.
control in my life. You as well. One to another.
you.
Toe touch. Hell yeah. We'll keep them white. That's
So
the
I-
one thing I can control. That's like I take them to the wash every week.
Really?
And yeah, the other ones on the wall, and then I put them out on the thing. The doves come hang because they love the smell of the soap.
wow.
So one thing
It's
although
like Cinderella.
this
gotta get
one
mine washed
I
every week.
scuffed
Summoning
right
the-
before the show, and I've been trying not to look at it, so I crossed it
I
this
just bought
way.
new white
I get it.
sneakers.
And I just look at white
And
sneaker.
they're only my
white women.
stage sneakers.
Stage
Yes,
sneakers,
smart. I always
yes,
say I'm gonna do that, and I don't do that.
right.
And
And
I'm gonna do it now. It's new.
Yeah.
when I was missing the tooth, I would make sure my sneakers were so white because I was like, I
Right.
noticed people would
Distracted?
get sad sometimes when they would, because I'm missing a front tooth. So I was like, if my
Front
sneakers
tooth.
are super white, it'll seem like I'm not like totally like despondent.
But
How
you're
long
comic.
did you not have your front tooth?
It was so. What
It's a great
happened
opener.
was it was about a
I've
year.
been needing an opener, so
A year?
Yeah.
And what did you get? Veneer?
So I had veneers. One of them popped out, and then I went to a bad dentist. I should have gone to a surgeon, and he did a botched job taking the tooth out. So my mouth swelled up. This is when I ended up taking the weed gummy. My mouth swells up, and I wasn't asking any questions like, "Is this weird?" So then
mouth stuff. and
mouth
like-
stuff. I'm
I
like,
don't
eh.
know. Yeah.
It was a mess. I didn't realize I should have seen a surgeon, not a general dentist. It was a mess. And then they like put bone in my mouth. They put way too much while I'm in there.
Bone from where?
Didn't ask. Should have asked. Maybe that was part of the
You don't
problem.
know where it came
I was
from.
trying to keep it moving. I have a hard time being in the moment. Would you have asked if they're like, Torey, we need
No.
to put bone?
Hey, but where is
No.
this bone coming from?
No, not when
Really?
they just shot you with Novocaine.
Is it a
and
deer
then that's-
bone?
that's
Is it
like
an
the-
elephant
They
bone?
say
Yeah.
cadaver, so it's
Oh,
like
I
a
hate that.
Yeah, you have someone else.
It's a
Well, I mean,
dead
like,
bone.
It's
Dead
a-
are you an
person.
organ donor?
Yes.
So when you die, your
Which I don't
heart
like.
is
I'm
gonna-
not gonna lie. I was with
Why?
a friend when I got my license, and I clicked all the buttons, and she
You
goes,
felt
"What
pressured?
the fuck are you
Yeah.
doing?" She pressed it for me, and I was
Wow.
like, "I said, if I'm dying, they'll let me die because then they can use my organs." And she goes, "That's not true." And I was like, "I think it is."
Do you
I don't
think
think it's
the
true.
person who gets your heart is gonna go? Where did this heart come from?
Allie Hupp pressed that button. But I
Allie-
look good. I suppose
Did
I
you
didn't
just
know
dox somebody?
Yeah, she pressed that damn button for me, which makes me a good person. I like.
Are you
that
not
little
on good
heart-
terms with her now?
No, good friend.
Oh,
I think
good.
that
Yeah.
I think that they. I don't think it's that corrupt.
Okay.
No,
They're
I
like,
mean-
we got a dying one.
They're-
I don't
yeah,
think they then like look the other because they don't get a benefit out of you getting
The
an organ,
EMTs don't show
right?
up, scan, and go, yeah, we're going to get 500 for this
Right.
one, boss. Let's give it up. Yeah, she hasn't. Yeah, let's do it.
You got a fresh
you,
heart.
Why did you, so you started taking gummies to deal with the tooth pain?
No, so what happened was the tooth stuff is like a mess, and they
It's
put
expensive too.
it was
Yeah.
so.
With
This
health
was
insurance.
this was the mess of the mess. This is why it's like
When it rains, it pours.
you gotta
Yeah.
ask questions,
Right.
Because I knew that this was off, but I didn't try. I'm in therapy now. I didn't trust my little spidey sense.
Your gut. Women's
trust
gut
my gut.
intuition is crazy.
My
I think
gut
your
health's
mic
all
unplugged
fucked
a little
up.
bit right there.
Oh.
Just plug it back. Yeah, okay, now it's good.
Thank
Now
you,
it's good.
Troy.
You're welcome. That's why I got the phones on, baby.
Yeah.
I love hearing those.
I just wanted to make, because like otherwise we will record this whole thing and then the rest episode would have been like
Totally.
therapy.
Right.
We did a podcast after the Uvalde thing happened. I have to be careful what I say in what time period before YouTube strikes it. Wow, Siri's been taking a note for a long time.
Wow, how long?
I hate this Apple Watch.
Do you
My
really-
phone
do you
does
have
that.
an
My
Apple
watch did that too, and it would confuse me
I
so
thought
much.
I wanted one until Troy got one.
Yeah,
No,
it's
do
confusing.
not get one. Yeah, it's just another thing that
I
buzzes
got an
at me all day.
Alexa, and I love it.
You got
so
more than
much.
one, didn't you?
So
I hate Alexa. Wouldn't conform to my voice.
I got a
Really?
free-
Why?
Really?
What?
I don't know. I'd be trying to do stuff, and it would just not happen.
Well,
I'd be like,
she'd be like, "That's not in the Bible."
But yeah. hell.
Yeah, I got
I
one
never
for
got-
free. And with my TV, I got a Fire TV, and then I was so enamored by it, like an old person, that I bought two more, and now my whole 5-foot apartment is filled with them, and I
Tori,
love them. I
we
talk
What do you
really
even
need
ask
to
it
get
to
you
do?
laid. We really need to get you fucked. And this is coming from
my
someone who has a life-size
All
Han
I
Solo
have is my
carbonite.
Alexa now.
You just got. You have. I'm worried that I'm gonna come to your house and you're gonna be having a
Just me and-
podcast with
talking
6
to my
Alexas.
Oh God.
Because it's gonna be. You're gonna be the dude from Despicable Me, and those are gonna be
Right.
your minions.
These are my friends.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't need to do comedy at the clubs anymore.
You're
like,
SpongeBob. The gang's all here.
This morning I woke up to a song, and I was like,
That's how they get you, man.
Yeah.
They're
They
trying
do.
to coax you in. You're being groomed.
they
by
sent it in like
Alexa.
less than 24 hours, and I want
Why
to
do you
buy
think
shit.
that?
I was like,
Yeah.
Alexa, buy me things.
Are they gonna? Is it different Alexa personalities, or are the two sync to like the
Three.
same?
There's three.
Oh, there's
They're all
three.
Three of
synced.
the same one.
Their
It'd be
cycles
funny
are
if there was like
synced.
a. They all had different personalities.
That's what I was thinking. And then they're like kind of like
One's a bitch.
You'd have
and
one
they're like,
Alexa that
she doesn't
never-
want this. She doesn't want this. It's like who knows you better.
There's one that always fight. But Alexa, play Nora Jones. No, play Pete.
the hell?
And there's just one that's like, everybody be quiet. Stop asking Alexa for shit.
It's like all my personalities are coming through.
Yeah, that's where it's gonna get to.
That's scary.
I
'Cause
used-
this morning I was like, Alexa, play music I like, and I was like, I don't know you that well, and I was like,
Wow.
oh, you're gonna learn.
Yes,
yeah.
they are.
Yeah, I've been
Yes,
playing
they
Jungle.
will.
The new Jungle album is truly
What?
I haven't heard it. I don't even know.
Jungle?
Jungle.
I'm not up
the-
on anything.
That
you
sounds
gotta-
like what my grandfather would call rap music.
Jungle.
The new Jungle album.
Yeah.
Candle Flame. I'll send it to you guys. You're gonna love it.
I don't know any new music. I just listen to 90s hip hop exclusively.
Oh
Same.
right, remember
Jock
I bumped into
jams.
you on the
Yes.
street, and you were like playing it on a YouTube.
Oh God, I'm a monster. I'm a monster.
You're like, look what I'm
Were you doing
I was
YouTube?
like, why are you
just
listening to
videos?
YouTube?
Wait, no, I was listening on headphones,
I know.
and then you were like, "Oh, you were in the zone," and then I was like, "Jock jams," and you guys.
I
were like,
could.
"Ah."
I just
But
see.
you're
I
playing
see
it
you
on
doing
I don't
this
think I
too.
was doing that. I have.
No, I
done
could
that
see you.
before.
There have been like 3 times I've ridden by Emma on a
Oh,
city bike,
no.
and I think I've texted her like 2 or 3 days later, being like, "I saw you, didn't say hi," because you're just in the zone. It's
I get
great.
in the zone when I'm walking.
Walking to
Yeah.
Gotham.
For some reason, I focus when I'm walking, and then
You
the second
have
I get
to.
to where I'm supposed to go, I lose it.
Steps
I
is
lose. I'm
your
like, what am
religion,
I doing
feel
here?
like.
Why am I here? But the walk over there, I'm nailing it.
You're in the music video when you walk over there, and
Yeah.
there's no other characters. And I think once you show up to wherever you got to go, you're like, I don't know how to do this. What
Totally.
am I doing? Oh my god, I have
That
to put
is life.
headphones
I
back
used to
on.
like drunk
That is
Yeah.
life.
walking.
Drunk
Really?
walking is
Yeah,
a scary
drunk
one.
walking in the city.
Would you just stop at I would do what I would do though is I would always like stop at every single place and just get food.
I
And then
did.
I'd be like walking and there'd be like chip shrapnel everywhere. Like it was just a mess.
I stopped and got a cookie once that was like the size of my body.
But it wasn't like a part of the routine.
No,
That was a
no.
part of my drinking routine. Like I would get wasted and then I would just be like food
Oh no, sorry.
everywhere.
A bodega pint of Ben and Jerry's was my go-to, and I would eat the whole thing in bed.
What's wrong with that?
bad.
People say like I would eat the whole thing in bed. I've never put half of Ben and Jerry's in
That's
the
true.
freezer.
True.
I've never
That's
put half
true.
a beer away.
But I
you know?
feel
True.
really bad about
True.
myself, and I'm like
Of
pre-diabetic, so I'm like I
course.
could have just died in my sleep. a few
Everyone
times.
is one zebra cake away from being pre-diabetic in this country. You've
My
been
mo-
to
it's in my
Montreal.
family.
It's shit. I had the McDonald's up there, and they were like, somebody.
it's healthier.
It was
Yeah.
so bad. I hated it.
It's
because
weird.
it's healthier. It's so
Yeah.
weird. I was like, they had
Oh,
snack
there's
wraps.
rules. They can't put poison in it.
Yeah, they can't put.
Lame.
Yeah, and so like, like it's not fried. It's not. I mean, it's fast food, but not really. There was like a 20-minute wait in line because everything's
healthy?
cooked so differently. Yeah, I mean, it's
just
not American food.
Distinctly remember that too. And I remember it was
Yeah.
smaller.
Much smaller. I remember I got a medium fry, and it was like the small one, and it was
Interesting.
wet. and
You're
it
like,
was
that's not why I'm
soggy.
here.
I got grilled chicken in a snack wrap.
Ooh.
Why don't you go to McDonald's when you're traveling?
Because
I
I
do
have
it
a limited
sometimes.
worldview. Sometimes that's a
Thank
fake.
you for backing it
I didn't
up.
know-
it sometimes.
I'm meeting
Thank
and
you.
you're like,
Yeah,
back down.
but I didn't realize how French Montreal was, and McDonald's was the one thing I could go by pictures.
Sure.
with. There was like 3 times I went to a CVS and they didn't have an English translation. I just
Really?
left all my items at the cart. So McDonald's was the one thing I was like, okay, I know what that is.
You left your items at the car?
I just left them and I walked away.
Really?
I
You
left
couldn't
the
just
store.
press, like,
No, because I
green
tried
button?
to pay. I tried to press the green button. It said, I lose you, and I just started sweating and I left.
Yep.
It was horrible.
I started apologizing. I'm like, I'm
yeah.
sorry.
I'm
I'm
like,
sorry. I do a bow.
We surrender. Yeah, they're like, wrong culture, but thank you.
I would
Right.
just steal
It's
and
rough.
play dumb. Like I thought I paid.
No, I thought about it. I was like, what's gonna happen?
honestly-
But somebody blew a whistle in my face for jaywalking, and I almost punched him in the face.
Were they a cop?
They were wearing a vest, and that's like
Hall
a thing
monitor?
out there. Yeah,
Wow.
that's what they have them up there. Like they have like you can't jaywalk, and I'm
Interesting.
we live here. I jaywalk everywhere.
Yeah,
I've
if
never
you don't
waited
jaywalk,
to
you're
cross.
not going anywhere.
I don't
Yeah.
even know what constitute jaywalking.
You have to wait till the sign says you
Right?
can cross.
Sometimes-
And they have people in vests standing there, and they blow a whistle if you put a foot on the ground,
Wow.
and they're like your height. Blowing a whistle in my face, and most of them were women. But my reaction to somebody blowing a whistle in my face is to
Startled.
just punch them in the face.
Sure.
And this woman blew a whistle in my face, and I just go, ooh. It was like trying not to turn into the Hulk. And it was a thing all weekend, and I was so mad that I was following.
I wonder
someone's
if that's
rules.
a new thing.
I was just,
Did
I
you
was
go
so
to jail
worried
for
about
it?
I've
getting.
been there a couple times and I haven't gotten whistled at, but I think I would have a hard time with that because I think I'd be so startled.
Yeah, it'd be
That's the
rocked.
thing. I couldn't shake that off for like
Right.
an hour. I had that just angst inside of me. All like
Yeah, I
I
think
probably
it-
carried it all day. I was
I
just
think
like,
I'd have a hard
Thanks.
time.
it's so
that
jarring.
weed gummy.
Oh, the weed gummy. So,
I was gonna circle back there.
so
Did you see like that segue?
I did. She's just jealous that
Speaking of
I'm
angst.
on top of it today.
that I had.
You were talking. You said something very important. You were mentioning why you were doing something rather than what you were doing.
Oh,
Yeah, I
I think
like
that's
that.
such a big part of like, and when I look back on stuff where I'm like, okay, you know, when you're doing something destructive, or you're like, or for me, like I've crossed a line where I'll be like, it could be with anything I use to distract or numb myself out, anything.
Right.
It could be like truly anything, shopping,
Anything.
relationships,
Yeah.
social media, for sure. Anything you're like, but then what I'm trying to learn now is kind of like we're saying with like. What's wrong with eating the Ben & Jerry's, a pint of it? Nothing.
Yeah.
If
Right.
you're doing it where you're like, I want to soothe myself, I'm aware of what I'm doing, but then the difference is sometimes I'm like, fuck this, I don't care about anything. This is the only thing that makes me
My
feel
only
better.
vice, yeah.
I just want to feel good right now.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck it. And then afterwards you feel bad.
Right.
Right.
But if you're not going to feel bad, then that's great. Like
Yeah.
I had a piece of cheesecake a little while ago, and I was like, for me to have sugar, I have to be very emotionally balanced. Otherwise,
Yeah, right. Yeah, because it'll spike
Dude,
you up,
tooth.
or it'll take you.
yeah,
down.
I get addicty about it.
Same.
About sugar? When
Oh
you'll
my
have one
God.
piece of cheesecake, and you're like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna get Snickers tonight, Sour Patch.
Oh
Whole
yeah,
bag. Yeah, I'll get a whole bag from 7-Eleven that weighs like 5 pounds. You
Yes.
see me do it.
Troy, I'll wake up.
me too.
That's
It's
my
fucking
favorite
what
thing to do,
happens,
crazy.
yeah.
like, we'll pass out and then I will, and then I'll wake up and he'll just be in a sea of like candy.
That's what you
Yeah, man.
because like
It's
I'm
so
it's drugs
Probably shouldn't be as
are
funny as I
fun
find it, but-
until they're not.
Yes,
Is what they don't teach
exactly.
you. They just say drugs are bad. Drugs are amazing until they're not.
Works
Like
until it
everything in
doesn't work.
life.
Because I'll think of some stuff. I'm like, maybe that helped me like get through some things that were really
Right,
hard, altering
right.
myself so much.
Yeah.
And then it stopped working.
Yeah, I mean, you go through different cycles
Totally.
in life, and you, I mean, think of like the jobs that you went out for, and you look back on, and you're glad you didn't get. You're like, wow, I would not have been ready for that. At that
Totally. I
time.
think about that a lot when I'm
So
trying to when I'm
much.
trying to trust the universe more, because I'm like, okay, well, you also thought you were like ready for this and you weren't. So maybe
Yeah.
that's the same situation.
Because I mean, the tooth was like the third thing that happened to you when you had the audit, you had the tooth.
Yes.
You were going through,
And I've
you talked about.
Definitely been through worse with
Yeah.
those two things too. But so I get the tooth finally after they're kept being all these problems. My girlfriend's mom is a dental assistant. So she was like, I'm telling you, these are not normal. Also, it happened 2 times where I was in surgery and the secretary ran in and she goes, I know we quoted you at this price, but it's actually going to be this price. Wow.
No.
Mouth open. I remember one of the times I sat up and I
No
went,
way.
where do we go? What are the options? And she was like, well, we need to, and I was like, can we do a payment plan? And she was like, no. And I was like, I can find a way to pay. But I was, afterwards, I was like, what if I couldn't? What if
Right.
I
they
had
would
kids?
take the pliers out and go leave now mid
I
job.
was like, do I work here now?
Yeah.
Like, they had no answer.
Wash dishes in the back.
No, you
That's
just
what I
have to
was
clean up
wondering.
people's spit. Get a straw.
That's
rinse
how
out
they get their
mouth.
cadaver bone. They're like, well, we know
You
one.
should have gotten porcelain, but they gave you Gladys's front tooth.
Right.
Oh my god.
So
Wow.
fucked
Mid
up.
thing they did that to you
Twice.
When
That's crazy.
twice.
Was
And
it
I did
in the city?
It was in the city, and I did a
Was it
post.
Smile
Have
Direct?
you left a bad
Gramercy
Yelp
Dental,
review?
Gramercy Smiles, which they
Gramercy
clearly meant
Smiles.
ironically.
Yeah.
But I also was like, I was just so trusting about it, and I did a
Yeah.
post about that, and then they called me and they're like, just so you know, that's not a normal thing for us to do the pricing while you're in there, and I didn't. My girlfriend was like, of course they're saying that, like you're
Right.
mentioning them, like they
Yeah.
were doing something wrong, because it still didn't even occur to me how weird that was.
I also don't buy that that's not something that they do consistently. It is. I mean, the medical field is a business. That's why they started talking about
Yeah.
aliens during COVID, because they just showed the holes in our healthcare infrastructure. And they were like,
Right.
let's start getting them to talk about aliens because we have bodies full, refrigerator trucks full of bodies. And so they
100%.
they definitely do that all the time. And I guarantee you, nobody would have talked about it the way you did with the platform that you have as a comic.
And I wasn't even. I was just trying to be like, this is crazy. And
It
then
is crazy.
that stuff made me start. I was like, maybe I need to go somewhere else. But I liked the guy.
Yeah, you're invested.
He was. I remember we had to.
Someone is going in your mouth.
He's going. It's intimate now. There was a lot of
Yeah.
tension in the office. So
Right.
now that I'm in like a normal good practice, I see how weird. Like they were bickering. He would be snapping at other people in my mouth. Like there was this guy helping him.
Smoking a cigar.
And I pretty much, and I remember him going, "Hey, what you just did? Never do that again." And I opened my eyes and I was like, "What did he do? What did he do?" And they were like, "No mind for you." And I was like, "What?" I still don't know what he did.
Were you working for the dentist from Little Shop of Horrors?
That's
Jesus
what I.
Christ.
It was so, and I was just like,
Oh yeah, huh? I don't want to know it either. You're the one in my
says
mouth.
that?
You're the one holding tools.
Imagine it's like if we made you a meal and then while you're eating it, I was like, Troy, we can never cook with those ingredients again. That's not good. And you'd be like, what did you cook with? Like, don't worry about it. It fucks you up.
Yeah, that's
And
sad.
so only then was my girlfriend was like, you have to talk to other dentists. So I go
Right.
in, I start interviewing other dentists, and all of them, dentists don't want to talk shit about each other, but they're like, look, this is not, we're not saying they did something wrong, but there's way too much bone in your mouth. They put too much in. So, and then one of the ones we went to was like, she was like, look, if we don't take this bone out right away, we might have to take out the tooth next to it. And I said, I have reached my threshold for things
Yeah,
I can handle.
missing
And I went and
teeth.
got weed gummies, and I ate so many of them.
How many?
I ate the whole pack.
Yeah, I did
It
that
was so, I was
twice
so
this year.
high.
Yeah, I did it once at Laugh Boston.
Oh,
I ate like
Yeah.
9 of them, and I was so high. All I could do was look. I was stood on the
When you
patio,
did
and I
that,
just stood at
was
the
like,
skyline
Bon voyage.
because Maggie was like, "These are so strong," and I was like, do you know me? I smoke weed all day. And I
Right.
took him right to the dome. Then the second time I did it was when I went to see Oppenheimer.
So did
in
you
IMAX.
not? Was it an okay experience
The
though?
first time was not an okay experience. I thought my skeleton was gonna jump out of my body,
Mm-hmm.
and like all I could do was pace. Like it's like you've seen videos of like dogs who get into weed. That's what I felt like.
Yes.
I've never been that high on weed.
Were you
before.
watching yourself from outside
Yes.
yourself? That's what
it
I was
was
doing.
terrifying.
Too. So
How long
scary.
did it
Absolutely
last?
because it's in your blood. It's edibles. It lasts for
It lasted
wait.
a long time, and
Yeah.
I insisted on calling an ambulance on
Yeah,
myself.
right.
I've
That's
almost
the
done
thing.
that.
Yeah, remember when we drove back from Boston? I sat in the back seat of the
Yeah.
Jeep with my legs crossed for 4 hours. That's how long it lasted, and that was the morning after.
God,
I took him
damn.
8 hours earlier.
911 on yourself.
I did.
Doesn't that cost
Yeah.
you $2,000?
I
It does,
guess.
yeah. But at this point, she's like, add it to the cart, put it
yeah,
on the bone
I
list.
was like, hook it up with the dentist. It takes
You
it
know
on
who
my
it is.
bone.
Yeah, we got to do the sanitation's
Were
health
you in the
department.
city?
Yeah, they took me to the ER, and it was so.
You went for the.
I went.
When did this happen?
And
Last
they were
year?
like testing. I think it was 2 years ago, and they were testing me for stuff because also I'm so high. My girlfriend was like, "Did you just take weed? Like, be honest with me." Like, and I was like, "No, you don't know me." I turned into like
Right.
basic. Like,
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
I drank too, which
Yeah.
I haven't drank alcohol in years. And then I
Your
started saying,
cross-faded.
I was taking other drugs too, and they're like, "When?" Which wasn't true.
You're
So
just
that-
so out of it.
so out of it. So then they did my urine test, and they're like, it was just marijuana in Emma's system, and then they're like, also it wasn't that high an amount. And my girlfriend and sister were both like, because
She also tested positive for main character syndrome.
I was so dramatic. Like
Yeah.
I took off my shirt, so when the ambulance came, I was sitting shirtless on the couch like this, and I was talking about the algorithm of life. I was like, the algorithm of life is too much. Like, I can't keep up with the algorithm of life. Like
So full mental breakdown.
full
though.
mental
Yeah.
breakdown. And then the
Oh my
poor
God.
ambulance people open the door and they see me and they don't know what pronouns to use with me, which I don't even pick up. So they're like, what do we call them?
Get
And-
that thing to the hospital now.
And my girlfriend was like, what? And I was like, the algorithm. And they were trying to like switch pronouns around, I was like, I know, like I'm weird looking. Like, I don't know. Like I'm sorry. Like I'm sorry. Like I don't know, man. And then these poor people are like helping me down. And my girlfriend's like, can you just say Emma, like, or she, hers, fine, like whatever. It's not a big thing. And you see the ambulance people were just like sweating, trying to figure out what the fuck. And
It's
then
giving overdose.
it's giving and I'm like what? And then they took me into the ambulance. My girlfriend said while I was in there, she's like, you kept like looking at my boobs like when they were like talking to you,
Going,
and
mommy.
I kept saying, I was like, I'm trying to make it in show business. It's brutal. And they were like,
Star has mental.
she's having like a break, like what's going on? And my girlfriend was like, no, she says this all the time. Like this is not a
This is
normal.
an average Tuesday. For
That's a
us.
great line
funny.
to be stuck saying forever. Like,
It's fucking brutal
they
out
got-
here.
I'm trying to make it in show business. It's brutal.
Brutal. I don't know what
Like,
to do.
is the thing with
I
Mel.
got one more year in me. I'm tapping out. I can't do it.
I know you have to get out of here.
Yeah, to
but
get
I
the
asked,
IU
you gotta get the
IUD.
IUD. Are you still
I'm so
scared about it?
Yeah, I'm so scared.
I guess I didn't give you
It's
any
the
reason to not be
aftermath.
scared about it. We just.
I'm
kept
s- well, I
talking
We'll
about
have
did
to
it.
do a pod check-in.
Yeah,
I
we
did.
will.
I
How's
did
the
the
mental?
damage because
Yeah.
I went on Reddit and was reading stuff.
That's
Reddit's
what
a
you can never
dangerous
do. You
place.
can never go on Reddit for anything.
You think?
That's why people storm the Capitals because they're on Reddit so
Be-
much. That's really
I
what
had a lot
happened.
of spit in my mouth recently, and I googled it, and I was like, "You have cancer," but now I'm fine.
Yeah.
What happened?
Someone
I
spit
think
in
I
her
had
mouth.
COVID.
Just on the train?
Because Troy had a lot of just extra.
We
saliva.
both got COVID at the same time when
In
we were
Austin,
in
I
because we did Nashville, Austin,
Atlanta,
and
Austin.
Atlanta.
We
a lot
drove
of
from
people.
Nashville
And then we did
to
Miami
Atlanta.
the next
And he
weekend.
hugs every single person that comes to the show.
I
I'm a
tongue
big
kiss him,
hugger, too.
I'm a
You
hugger. I
literally
can't help
do.
it.
No, but
I hug.
I
I
hug,
hug.
too,
That's
like-
why I feel. That's all I
and
feel
I
like I
think
can
it's
give someone
amazing,
after
but I'm
a
just
show.
saying, you
Totally.
probably hugged 3,000 people.
No, I
that
know.
week.
I feel the
Wow.
effects of it
And then I
after
am
when
near
you
it.
get home.
I mean, I hug a lot.
You have no
Totally.
voice, and
But
you
I love
try
it
to
as
say
much.
something, and she's like,
Totally.
they had. You'll be fine. You're not gonna die, and we're gonna do a Zoom check-in with you next week.
I'm just so scared because. So the reason I'm doing it is because I was like trying to be like I've been trying to take these couple months to be like really get things together, and I was like
Right,
I'm
'cause
gonna
you're not traveling. For a
not
while.
traveling this
Yeah.
month, and so I was
Right.
like I'm gonna get this, and it's supposed to help with your like around your period, the hormones.
Yeah.
But then on Reddit,
Yeah.
some
That's the thing.
people said that they had a very bad reaction, and I'm like, I'm gonna be. I don't know. I don't want to put it out there that I'll be one of them. But what if I'm one of them? Because I was gonna get I always confuse the dyslexia. I confuse words sometimes. Not euthanized.
No, you were not gonna
But
get euthanized.
I was gonna get
anesthesia.
Anesthesia.
So I made it.
Localized?
I was gonna get.
If you got
out cold.
euthanized, you would never have to worry about your period ever
Yeah.
again.
And that
I will
is
say
okay.
that. That is great. If you want to go down that route, that won't happen to you today.
Deal.
Do you still have? What do you want to plug?
Oh,
I know
for
you gotta
plug,
get out of here.
I'm on Instagram, TikTok. I don't know when it's getting released, but I'll be in a movie called Ezra with Bobby Cannavale. I don't know when it's getting released
Ooh, I
though.
love
I
Bobby.
think next spring. He was really
I
nice.
saw him in Bronx Tale on Broadway.
He's
great.
He's so talented.
He's so Irishman's one of my favorite.
I gotta watch Irishman.
Oh, it's
Is
so
that the one with
good.
Sebastian Maniscalco?
Yeah, where
I
he's
love
like, "We're
him, too.
brothers, right? What's going on?
I gotta
We
watch.
believe in this Italian anti-Italian defamation league. What's going on?" He played Joe Gallo, quote unquote.
Do
Played
you do
Joe
any
Gallo.
impressions?
No.
Me
And
neither.
just watching him go up against
Got
De
some
Niro, where
voices,
De Niro is just like old and stuff. He's like,
You do your mom.
We don't do that no more. We don't do. What's going on? We're brothers, right? We're brothers. I'm sitting there being like, why the fuck did I not get a part in this movie? You should have got a part in this movie. Pacino half the time was trying to remember his lines.
Really?
He's like, I'm going to jail because you motherfuckers. Yeah.
Who's your favorite person to impersonate?
That's
a
a
great
good
question.
question.
I've never
I would say
asked that.
probably Pacino's the best one to
Yeah.
do. Pacino and Trump are so alike.
I feel like, do they even make people that act that classic anymore? Because when I'm watching movies, I'm
No.
like, man, like it was just so good.
Yeah, like
so good.
I try to think of like new impressions to do all the time, and
Yeah.
I can't think of anyone. I'm like, who am I gonna do? Addison
Well, we gotta
Rae
do
on
our
Right?
TikTok.
thing.
Zac Efron.
Zach, yeah, like what?
Who I like, big fan.
Great, big
Huge
fan, huge fan. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
great fan, big fan,
Yeah,
huge
big
fan,
fan.
big fan, big fan. The three, you and him are both in contention to play Wolverine. So I'm hoping you get it.
Oh
I know
my
you're on your
God.
fitness journey.
Yes, I'm
and
on
you're
a
gonna
fitness
have
journey.
on
You
your
look
and you're
great.
the same.
Thank you so
look
much.
Great.
I've been working out with my friend Ian, or I've been working out with trainer Ian, and it is
Shout
the
out
most
Ian.
comprehensive.
Yeah.
The Moshad method is the most comprehensive, and it's so fucking intense. It's really
Really?
intense. It's a very
Oh.
long-term program.
Okay, I need something that's more sustainable, especially going on the road and stuff.
Yes.
I go from like try really hard to give up.
I know, me
try
too.
really hard to give up,
Yeah.
and it's just a roller coaster. It's hard.
It is hard, but it's
Yeah.
doable.
Okay,
It's
That's what I
doable.
told you before. If it was easy, everybody would be
That's
doing it.
true.
Oh, I think about that all the time when I'm in there. I'm like, this is so hard.
I think about that every time I'm not trying to do a spot. I'm like, if
Yeah.
this was easy, everyone would be doing it.
Mhm.
Like, everyone has their thing in life that they're good at. If it was easy,
right?
we wouldn't be as special. We could be. We're
Yeah.
better than everyone else.
If everyone
Main
was
character
super-
trying to make it in this business. It's brutal.
I always try
Ah,
to.
see?
I wish she filmed that moment. I would
Yeah.
just play that on. Like,
That'd be
She
a-
had
on a
some.
bad
She did get
day.
some footage.
Yeah.
But it was like she got some footage. She was like, "I want you to see this footage, just so like we don't do that again." Because you see me walking down the stairs when I have the shirt on, and I'm like, I can't make it, and I'm still talking about the algorithm, and it's bad.
Oh shit.
I'm all fucked up. It's bad.
No matter what we do, we're gonna always be talking about the algorithm.
The algorithm.
It's there. I don't know what it is, but it's watching us. If the algorithm is kind to us, we will all be benefited from this podcast today.
Oh yeah.
I'm praying to it. Good
Thank you
timing.
guys so
Great
much for having
timing.
me.
Thanks for being here.
Emma
Proud of both
Willmann,
you.
at
At
Emma
Emma
Willmann,
Willmann, yes.
All across the board. I love you. You
I
gave me my
appreciate you.
first big thing ever.
Amazing.
You also hosted my
Honored.
first show. You gave me my first agent, and I know we've been trying to do this forever. Thank you.
Yeah.
For
Thank you
coming
guys.
on and doing
Anytime.
it. I love you to death.
Thank you.
Equal rights, no matter what Torey says.
Beautiful.
Epilogue. That's the end of the episode. Bookends. This is
Okay,
after
this
the
is after
interview.
Emma. Okay.
Boy,
Emma.
was that great.
Boy, that rocks.
We're all praying for you and your insides, Emma.
Yes.
I love you, Emma Willmann. Thank you for
Love
everything
you
you've
so
done for me.
much.
Please, and I love you too if you're listening.
Yeah. So much love.
Yeah, thank you for spending your drive to work, your drive home, your stay at the
could be
airport, your
sitting
long
on your
shit,
couch
sitting on your
watching on
couch, watching
I
us, however you're doing it.
On
Thank
YouTube,
you for
if you're
engaging.
watching, please subscribe.
Torey is the keys to everything now. We hit 2,000 on YouTube.
Yeah, 2,000.
Thank you to 2,000, 200 of you, 2,200
you
of
all.
you who
Thank you for
subscribed
hitting
to
that
us.
button. If you please, that would help us.
Hit that button, and by that button I mean Torey's clitoris.
Yeah.
We call it
Woo.
a clitory. A
Clitory.
clitory coal.
That's good. That's
A clitory. Devil went down to Georgia. He was looking for a clitory. He was in a box. He was way behind. He was willing to make a deal.
Clitorious.
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 I can't wait to watch that back and see. A, think of that, and then
We
B when the
both-
lights go on.
Yeah.
I was watching that the whole time, and I
You're
saw.
waiting for me to get there.
I saw it. I was watching
Torey.
you think of something. I was like, it's either that or she's checked out. I'm glad we've got to
We're-
Clitorius. Subscribe to Clitorius.
Leave a YouTube comment. I like the comments a lot.
If
I
you
try
listen to
respond
the whole
them.
episode, comment Clitorius.
We'll try and get sound in both headphones this time.
All right, go fuck yourself.
That was most of the
I
comments.
know.
last time.
Yeah, I know.
But the comments help us. So if you want to say whatever, you say it.
Yeah, I'll
You
put.
say it.
If you, there's
Whatever
only,
you're thinking, you say it.
yeah, and eat my ass.
Suck my balls.
This podcast is brought to you by Joel Osteen and his big mega church. Tax the churches. Thank you for listening to Bonding.
Thank you. See you next week. Hopefully. Hopefully.
That was scary. I'll see you next week, Batman, but you won't see me.